Hello everyone and welcome to my first video on this channel, Cozy Cat Coding. My goal for this channel and for videos and live streams and everything like that is to basically walk you guys through working on certain Java, C# web projects that I want to work on and kind of have a documentation for how I'm doing that and have a space where we can share some knowledge and tips, tricks, resources, and things like that for everyone's learning. So, like I said, this channel is Cozy Cat Coding. A little bit about myself. I am Java certified. I also have experience in C#. I'm certified in SQL Server. I'm currently working on a spring certification. This one is just a course completion. It's not a certificate. It does not prove through testing my proficiency. It is a completion course. What else? I have done quite a bit of HTML, CSS. I know a little bit of JavaScript. I knew a lot more when I was younger, but I have not used it in a long time. Okay, so these are things that I know. Based on the title, you might be asking, like, where's the cat? I do have a cat. I actually have two. One is very friendly and cuddly, and the other one just tends to want to be left alone. So if you see a big fluffy cat kind of jump up on the desk, don't be too surprised. What else? My goal for this channel is to pretty much do live streams of me working on my project in real time and solving issues in real time and talking with the community if you guys have any questions or resources or anything that you guys would like to know more about what I'm doing for your own learning. And then I will upload those live streams periodically to this channel. The project that I would like to get started on is an idea that came to me, and I looked into it, and there are a few apps that are very similar to what I have in mind, but I have not seen a lot of them, and I thought it would be a good idea for a Java project. So I want to make a Java-based Android application. And what I want this application to do is I want it to be able to scan barcodes of groceries or meals, and then it will keep track of expiration dates, send you reminders when food is about or is already expired. What other functionality can we add to this? We can have some sort of shopping list feature. I feel like this would be such a helpful app. You go to the store and you're like, oh, is the butter about to expire? I can actually pull it up on my phone from the last time I got groceries and scanned in my groceries with my app. I can see if the butter is about to expire. Okay, we might add some more features in the future. Like I said, I don't have any roadmap or any planning for this. This is just me figuring out what I'm working with as I'm working with it. So uh, it's not going to be very pretty. It's not going to be very put together, but it's going to be very real. And some problems might take a while, and um, some issues might arise that, well, definitely issues are going to arise that I don't foresee. And we're just going to go with it. And we're going to try to figure it out, and I will explain it as I go along as best as I can. All right. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to go over to GitHub, and I'm going to see what other projects people are working on. We can call this a food expiration date tracker, and we're just going to search for that and see what comes up. Okay, looks like there's a few. Some using Swift. I believe Swift is used mainly for Apple iOS development. So this would not be what we would use for a Java or Android application. Actually, I won't using PHP, but that's a web app. Okay. Found one that's built in Java. So I'm going to take a look at this project. And I'm going to pull this over for you guys so you can see as well. All right. So this is all open source. We can see that it is completely written in Java. And let's look at the description that he has put. Food tracker. You can manage your food by storage. The app notifies you when the date of expiration of the food is approaching. Also, you can use the widget to visualize the expiration state of the food. Do not allow any food to be wasted. Okay, that's cool. They have a widget feature. Looks like it's actually on the App Store, the Google Play Store. AdMob's App ID. Okay. Overview. An open source project, AdMob for showing ads, usage of content provider persistence data, reminder widget service, view pager as welcome screen, job scheduler for scheduling tasks, alarm manager for launching notifications, notification system to alert user click expiry. Okay, so this looks like the user interface. So this looks like pretty much exactly what I am wanting to make, but this project is part of the process. We're not going to just, fork this repository, make like 2 changes and be like, oh, done. Because I want to learn how to make an Android app and all that comes with. Okay. So add storage, add food. Okay, so it looks like you can add multiple foods to different storage locations. Okay. All right, and we're going to take a quick look at the license. Okay. So First thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to fork this repository. I'm going to copy the master branch. And by the way, this is on GitHub. This is the repository system that I use. We're going to create a fork, which simply means that we are copying the repository that someone has at that point in time, and we are creating a branch of it, and it's going to go in our own file portfolio where we can work on it, tweak it with forks as the original master branch updates. It does not update the branch that you forked because you forked it at a specific point in time. Okay, and I can tell you like that this branch is up to date, but it's not, and then there's actually a way that you can pull changes and make it up to date with their fork or with your changes. That can get a little complicated. Okay, so interesting. Looks like they just committed this all in one go. First commit. All right. We already read the README. They used Gradle. Okay. So here we have 3 folders. This is the main folder of code. Here it looks like we have our testing classes and then Android specific tests. Let's take a look at main for right now. Let's see. Okay. Data, dialog, services, settings, utils. Let's take a look. Take a look at main activity. What it is. Okay, lots of multiple points. Okay. Missed. What is this? Okay, so main activity is extending app compact activity. Okay, which is part of it. Looks like this Android package for making Android applications. Now, just as a quick disclaimer, I have never made an Android app before. I have made several Java console apps before. So this is completely new to me. Let's go back and take a quick look at some other folders. Take a look at data. Okay, food. Parcelable. Okay, so this is a class called food, and it's implementing this thing called parcelable. I don't know about parcelable. Okay, another Android OS class. And it has several of these public attributes. So it's given whenever you create a single food item, it's going to have all of these attributes. That single food is going to have its own food ID, food name, food unit, quantity, category, registered timestamp. I'm guessing that's the time that you scanned it into the app. Its expiration date, which is very important, and section ID. Okay. This constructor is pretty much assigning all of those. So whenever you create, let's say, for those of you who may not be well versed in Java, I'm going to do this as an example real quick. So when you create a food object, this is its type. It's a food. That's the name of the class. And then you can give it a name. Let's say we give it the name apple. The new word allocates space for this new object. And now this food is calling the constructor that we were just looking at. In these parentheses, we are going to pass in several integers, strings. Looks like there's a few. There's a double for food quantity, which means that it has a decimal. It can be a decimal number. So I'm only going to do this for the first two. So bring this over here. Okay, so we are calling this method. Oh, okay. Calling this constructor. And the first argument in the parameter is going to be an integer, so a number, which is going to be assigned to the food ID. And then the next one is going to be the name of the food, which will be assigned to the food name, the integer for the food unit, and so on. And that's how you create your objects in Java. So let's just say that the food ID was 12. Not sure what they're using the food ID for, but let's just say it's 12. Name of the thing is apple. And this will actually be in food unit. Let's say you bought 2 apples, and then so on. And then that creates in memory space, and it creates your apple. Okay, after that caveat, let's go ahead and move on and take a look at the rest of this. Okay, so that is a food object, food contract. Don't know what this is. Okay. So they're using SQLite. So they're tracking their data using a database, a lightweight database called SQLite. I think instead of SQLite, I will probably be using SQL Server. I have used SQLite. I'm just more familiar with SQL Server. What is section? Okay, parsable. All I know about parsable right now is it's dividable. So section is something that has a division. So it has an ID, a name, and a color, apparently, which might be part of the display when you're creating your different, like your pantry or your fridge or your freezer. I remember seeing that option as we were looking earlier. Okay, so far just looking at this project, I've been becoming very aware that I do not know much about Android specific development. So I'm going to do a quick search. Let's see. Interesting. Everything just came back in French. Let's refresh. Go back. Okay. I've pulled up a window of ChatGPT, which I found to be extremely helpful in my learning. And I'm just going to ask it, well, I'm going to say I want to develop my own Android app using Java. And I'm going to see what it says. Go from there. Okay. So it's telling me that to basically set up your development environment, which I already have installed. I have my JDK installed. I will be using, I'm going to use Visual Studio for this project because I've used that more recently. So that is the IDE that I will be using. Familiarize yourself with Java, which I am. Learn Android app development. Android Studio. What is Android Studio? Okay, so that's its own IDE. I'm going to ask how to get started developing an Android app using Visual Studio. Okay, install Visual Studio is the first step that it gives. Install Xamarin. I don't know what Xamarin is. Xamarin is a set of tools and libraries that enable Android app development using C#. During the Visual Studio installation, make sure to select the mobile development with .NET workload, which includes Xamarin. So if your Android development environment, install the Java Development Kit, which we have, install the Android SDK. You can either install the Android SDK through Visual Studio's installer or download it separately. Create a new Xamarin Android project. Design the app's user interface. Okay, so user interface looks like it's going to be the first step in the development, and then writing the functionality. Okay, I'm going to tweak what I asked it because it's giving me information about C#. Now I'm going to ask it how to get started developing an Android application in Visual Studio using Java. Let's see what it says. Okay. That is true. Java is not typically used with Visual Studios. It might be more work to configure it than it's worth, so I might just use another IDE that I have called Eclipse. and Eclipse. See, I'm not sure if I have it set up. I've not used it in a long time. We will see. Okay. So Eclipse is going to be the ID that I am using. I will not be using Visual Studio. So we're going to be using the Eclipse IDE. We're going to be using Java. And I'm going to have to familiarize myself with Android API for development and also some user interface. Okay. So now I'm going to ask how to get started, specifically into the Eclipse IDE, and what configuration of the Eclipse IDE it is suggesting for Android development. Okay, so it's giving me several steps on how to get started configuring within the IDE. I am going to end up saving that for my first live stream and doing that with you guys. Before we go, I'm going to go ahead and talk about Scrum acronym, because that is how I will be doing this development. I'm going to practice taking it from an iterative approach, which is these methodologies of programming. It's good for anyone to use, but it's more commonly used in teams to help keep everyone on the same page and who's doing what, and making sure we're not overwriting each other's work or completely missing out on specific functionalities. When you're your own show or you're just making a project from scratch, it's not as necessary from the point of view that you're going to be overriding someone's work or you're going to be miscommunicating with someone else, but it's still a very good way to keep yourself on track. Let me see. Trying to find exactly, I don't want to make up words here. in the picture. Okay. Right. Okay. So the method is called Agile. I apologize for that. Got the terms mixed up. So with Agile development, the goal is to be able to do things in iterations where you design a specific feature. Like let's say you want, let's call it the login feature. Very first thing that you do on most apps. So you're going to design that, and then you'll spend time developing it, actually writing the code. You'll test just that portion, and then you will deploy it to a live environment. Usually you won't do that until everything is set, but it'll be ready for deployment in our case. And then you review, and then you design the next feature. Say you want to be able to scan groceries. So we will work specifically on that design. So we're going to use Agile development, and working on my own projects, I really have not stuck to this methodology very well. So it's going to be a little bit of a challenge for me to do that, because I'm typically a little all over the place. And then I get confused on what I have done, what I have not done. So for my own learning and my own practice, I will be using that. All right, guys, that will be it for today. I'm hoping to do live streams fairly often. Not sure on what time schedule or anything like that, but just be looking for those if you want to pop in, and then they will be up on my channel. Haven't decided if I want to post them all in bulk, like doing 3, 4, 5 live streams all together as one video, or if just after every live stream I just post it as a video. Haven't figured that out yet, but we will see when we get there. All right, see you guys later.